Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, wherever you are on our amazing planet. Today we are assaulted by one of our all five senses.
What might that be?
Smell.
Smell?
Yeah, it's not you. It's outdoors. We have a inversion from wildflowers in Canada today while we're recording. And so we are inside.
Because it is smoky outside.
Yeah. Well, welcome to being here. And it's about being here is all about including and embracing everything that's going on around you, as opposed to wishing it were different. And today's particular episode, all six senses: touch, taste, vision, hearing, smell, and
your interconnectedness to all, sometimes known as ESP.
extrasensory perception. You know what's interesting?
No, I don't, but I will when you tell me.
I didn't know who our guests were today.
Right.
But I woke up thinking about Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a whole conversation about how I've got to get in touch with Sandy. We were going to get together because I was going to go to his area and it hadn't happened yet. And then I saw that Sandy is our guest today. So it was really fun.
Well, you know, when I was a kid, there was a thing they called women's intuition, as if it was specifically and only women who had intuitive powers, if you will.
Mm.
And I've discovered that I am a very intuitive being, and but I don't think I am.
Well,
that's the point. The point is we've been taught that intuition isn't a real sense, and yet I am convinced in all these years that I've been around that it is a real, viable, usable tool in your arsenal of living that allows you to know who you're going to meet before you meet them.
Well, I concur. I'm certain that
even when you spoke about Sandy,
yeah,
you know, you said you thought about him this morning.
Yeah, I was thinking about him all morning. But additionally, I know everybody has full-blown intuitive natural knowing, and for some people it's dormant. But a lot of people have been bringing it more actively forward. I don't believe our ancestors would have survived long enough to have children if they hadn't had that natural knowing. You know, get out of the way of the earthquake. Don't sit down with a person who's got that disease that's going to kill me. Go left rather than right during wartime. Like, there's all the different things that allowed our line to continue.
Yes. But what it really takes is being present, because then your senses become available to you. You know, if you're busy thinking about what you have to do, where you want to get to, what you need to accomplish in your day, week, life, well, then you're distracted from your immediate moment in your thinking about what needs to get done, which may not at all need to get done. But you get distracted from the moment, thinking about other things. And so this podcast came about as a result of a way we found to bring people into themselves and into the moment. And that way is through listening. Most of us believe we listen. We think we listen. We think we're good listeners. Some of us don't think we're such good listeners. But listening is a skill set that you can develop, and it requires setting down your thinking about what's being said to actually allow yourself to hear it. Because as soon as you start thinking, oh, I know this, or this is just like, then your mind filters out what's being said because it believes you already know what's being said. So the problem with that is you never learn anything newly. because you always think this is just like.
Yeah. I recently have been working on our calendar for next year. We haven't produced one since 2020.
Largely because of COVID.
Actually, I don't think we did it in 2020. We may have done it in 2019. I don't know. We haven't done it in a long time. And I've been having fun just looking, seeing, knowing what photos, looking, seeing, knowing what quotes, actually seeing what type of calendar I want to do rather than thinking about.
Because thinking about is an intermediary step that actually keeps you from doing. You don't produce anything in your thoughts about what you need to produce. You just spend time thinking about it and it doesn't happen.
I know that we've primarily been taught to think about things as we're bringing them into being. Today, let's practice the possibility of simply being here. And as Shya mentioned, I was using my eyes in the case of putting together the calendar, but since this is the podcast, let's use the hearing or the audio input as an opportunity to drop everything else and simply be here.
Yeah. The only thing you have to give up in order to do that is your preferences as to where it goes. See, life shows up exactly as it does, whether you have preference for it to be different or not, doesn't matter. Life still shows up the way it does. And slowing down enough to get into the current moment is easy if you listen. That is, hear what's being said rather than finish the speaker's sentences in your thoughts before they do.
Let's take our guest, shall we? All right.
Sandy.
Surprise, surprise. It's Sandy. Welcome to being here, Sandy. And kindly tell people where you're zooming in from.
Yes. Sandy from Fairfield, New Jersey, from my studio, which I'm at most of the week, sometimes weekends.
What kind of studio do you have?
A design studio where I design two-dimensional and three-dimensional objects from small to big. It could be print, it could be websites, it could posters, collateral, logos, etc. To prototyping, to some displays, exhibits. A lot of things have crossed my drawing table over the years, and I look forward for new things to keep on crossing over. I also like to take a lot of photographs. I've been photographing since high school, 1966. I was 14, so I took photography and fell in love with it. And fortunately, I have clients who hire me sometimes to actually take photographs of certain things. I love playing golf, so I've done many photographs of golf courses where they'll hire me for a year, and I'll go through the seasons and I'll see it from my perspective, how I see the beauty in the golf course. And a couple of clubs have hired me to actually print and hang the photographs in the clubhouse so all the members could see it, which is, quite rewarding to me when I go to that golf course to play and I see my stuff hanging up.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine in the time that you've been doing photography, it has had a revolutionary shift in what's possible. Because I remember when I was a kid and taking pictures, you needed a dark room, you needed a larger, you needed chemicals to bring the print into reality as a print from film that needed to be developed. It was quite an extensive process. And now, given iPhones, you can become a very excellent photographer with a minimal, almost no knowledge of how to do it you just point and shoot. And I'm sure there are ways that you can produce better work with an iPhone, but just by pointing and shooting, you can catch a great photograph.
Yeah, there was probably more photography being done today than all the years combined in the history of the world. Just because everyone has a camera that's in the pocket.
That's right.
Yeah, but I do miss the romance of the dark room. There was something magical about a dark room, the smell and this, it being dark with a red light, a safe light, and going in there and then seeing right before your eyes the magic of the print coming out and how you could dodge certain things and you could kind of manipulate things to get what you want. I never developed color. That was very complicated, but a lot of black and white.
Yeah.
For anybody listening to this podcast who has enjoyed my photographs over the years, I know that I take nowadays quite a few shots with my iPhone because it's got such a great camera in it. But Sandy helped me pick out my latest digital camera a few years ago and helped me find a video to teach me things that I didn't already know. And so if you've seen my artwork via photo, you owe a few kudos to Sandy for taking my hand along the journey and supporting me and help what I do coming even better. And I really appreciate that about you, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Well, you are, before I even helped you, you were, magical. You are a creative spirit. So you have the gift of seeing things before you pull the trigger. And that's what separates a great photographer from someone who just grabs the camera and shoots. You automatically crop or you see things or, you have a vision of what is great, what is not great. You have some amazing animal shots or bird shots that I just fell in love with over the years.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of that happens from being here as you're taking pictures. Actually, being in the moment allows you to see the moment unfolding as it's coming. A great example of that is we do or have done over the years a lot of offshore fishing for big fish like sailfish and marlin, and or top or other fish that jump. And Ariel has had a magical eye for anticipating the jump of the fish and catching it at its apex, at the absolute best moment. We once went out, had a professional photographer with us, and all they got were after splashes because they were thinking, that after the fish hit the water, they had a lot of splashes. They didn't have many magical shots of fish fully extending its body into the air.
Yeah, whether it's photography or supporting one's friends, I really see that ability or interest in watching for the apex of a moment or the play of light on something in that moment, it really is a skill set that we can all hone. It took me a while to realize that I couldn't walk by something that caught my eye and say, oh, I'll take that later. Because by the time I came back later, the light was always different. And it was not what I saw in that moment. And I was thinking about it in terms of recently, one of the last seminars we did was in Hamburg, Germany. And there was a couple who were on their way to do the courses there. And then tragically, the man's uncle died and he actually had tragically committed suicide. So they diverted to go to the funeral. And they were watching people, and Susan, who is the wife who was born American and is now intermixed with this family from Switzerland, started looking at the blooming of people who could use her support. And she'd go over, hi, I'm Susan, I haven't met you, and she started eliciting information from them in a way that had them support them in being able to grieve, to heal, to feel connected, to not be isolated,
to be seen.
I really see this interconnectedness thing as wide, vast, and meaningful.
Available.
Yeah, available.
But you see, if your attention is on you, how you're doing, how you're trying to get something accomplished, how you're trying to improve yourself, then your attention can only be directed in one place at a time. You can't be occupied by two things at once. That's one of those, it's a law of physics. No two things can occupy the same space at the same time. So if you have your attention on how you're doing, or if you're good enough, or if you are enough, then you don't have your availability to take care of the people around you, or even you.
So I have a question, Sandy. I don't know if you just came to have a conversation with us today, or if you had a question.
It's not necessarily a question, but it's a statement that I think you're going to be able to answer. Since I'm a kid, I've had what we call this thing ESP, or have a feeling towards something through one of my senses. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't know what to really do with it, and I thought it was only some coincidence, or my family or adults would say it's just a coincidence, and I would start questioning, how could this be a coincidence so many times? I become more aware of it. I don't know how many years we've met, but a number of years ago we met. I realized that I honed in on it, and I started to understand it. To a point. I mean, I still don't necessarily understand all the things, and I think by this truly listening, truly seeing, truly smelling, tasting, etc., it's just become sharper, especially when, as we say, we're in the moment. I just let everything go. There's nothing else necessarily occupying, and then there's something will come about. Like how you said this morning, you thought about me, and then here I am on the call. I get feelings like that a lot. Before someone rings the bell, I know that person will be coming, or the phone rings, I know who it is before the phone even rings, or it's kind of magical and stuff. But I do enjoy it. And I've honed my skill. I just spent the weekend with my grandkids, Saturday with my son's children, Sunday with my daughter's children. And I truly listen to them, before I mean, whatever the reason, adults don't necessarily pay attention to children and stuff, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant, because they're not judging things. They're just commenting. They're honest, and but I would know sometimes before they ask me something or they tell me something, and it almost gives me like a nanosecond to be able to respond with, which I feel is a really good answer, that but I'm not thinking about it. I can't explain it. It's like almost like this ESP thing, knowing something's going to happen before it happens. So I see the question that they, I hear the question, and then in that split second, I understand how to answer them, and they enjoy that because they're so quick in thinking that, if I wait 5 minutes to answer it, they're off to someplace else and doing something else. So It's not necessarily a question to you, but
Well,
it's
I have an idea about it, and that is, if that's a facility you have and you're enjoying it and you see the value of it, and you recognize you have it in that set of circumstances, you can start paying attention so it's available to you even when you're around critical people.
Mhm. That's interesting, because I find when I'm around people who don't really listen or critical people or stuff, I kind of turn them off.
Yeah, you go to your studio.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. My studio is a safe place.
That's right. Well, that's one of your skill sets, you see, that you take yourself away from uncomfortable, difficult situations rather than indulge in that.
And
True.
you're not saying that in a
And
negative
I'm
way.
not saying negative way. It's just, it's a skill set.
Yep. Yep.
Well, if you think your thoughts, as most people do, then you personalize everything that comes your way as though it's an attack. And you don't have to do that. I mean, certainly there are people out there who are insecure and want to feel more secure by having somebody else be insecure. But you're enough.
Yes.
I see two things, Sandy. One, you might get interested if when that facility of natural knowing and being able to have that nanosecond of knowing what's coming and being able to fully engage, I get interested in when it dries up, because there's got to be something either in how you're being or how you perceive them being that has you stop that critical facility. I don't mean like criticizing critical, I mean like that ability to be of service, in this case to your grandkids. I don't believe you're in your my mouth is getting a little ahead of my ability to put together an entire sentence. I believe you perceive your grandkids as giving you permission, like they hold you in high esteem and as knowledgeable. So if they ask you, Grandpa, how come, they are giving you permission to look and see and say the answer, and they have an interest in looking. I don't believe you invest yourself with that kind of permission. For instance, when you come to the Living Made Easy seminars, you cede that permission to other people. You don't give it to yourself.
You don't give yourself permission to make a contribution to other people by saying what you see, as you would with your grandchildren, because you hold your grandchildren as safe. They hold you in high esteem. They've got a history with you, and you have a history with them where they don't attack you. They may attack their parents, but they don't attack you, at least not very much. So you feel safe with them.
Mm-hmm.
But so you can make a difference with them because you're not on guard. But you don't have to be on guard with adults either. Now, you may think you do, but your thoughts are old, you see. Your thoughts are way back when you were going into a dark room. You had similar thoughts to the thoughts you have today, because the thoughts you have today are an extension of the thoughts you had in the past. And so, and our thoughts are all repetitive. So you keep having a litany of the same or similar thoughts that are automatic in circumstances that you feel insecure. Your thoughts are automatic. Your sixth sense, your ESP, if you will, is on guard to protect you there. Whereas with the kids, you can allow it to be a creative function in your experiencing your life. So it may take a little courage, Sandy, but you should speak up when you have something to say. You know,
Yeah,
fear,
that, yeah,
fear
I,
of coming back
I,
at you stops you.
yeah, I do get, at sometimes, it's like, should I say something? Should I not say something? And I might not. And I realize I've been doing that pretty much my whole life.
Mhm.
But if I'm in a situation, like for instance, with a client, and I'm very familiar with what we're talking about, I guess that's a safe place.
Right.
And I immediately comment and talk about it. Or if we have a subject um, that I'm familiar with, yeah, I'll respond easily. So yeah, you hit it on, the nail on the head, where
You
I
know,
will be quiet.
we go to Germany to lead seminars. I don't speak German. I have a few words, just a very few. And sometimes I don't even say the few words that I have because I'm not sure that it's the appropriate word. And don't want to look stupid,
Mhm.
I mean,
But just one other component you haven't put into play here yet, Sandy. So let's say you're coming to one of the Living Made Easies, and I'm sure a lot of the people listening come to our seminars either weekend or the Zoom Living Made Easy, sometimes in person too, because we have some in-person ones coming up. And there's a conversation going on, and you have the thought to say something, and then you say to yourself, oh, should I say that? I don't know. And then pretty soon, similar to your grandkids, things move on, and then you're not sure at all. If you are enough skilled to know who's coming to your door, at least from time to time, or have a sense of who's on the other end of the phone from time to time before you pick it up, don't you think it's possible that in the square next to you on Zoom, if somebody's thinking, oh gosh, should I say that you might not hear that as well?
I have never thought about it that way. Yeah, that's interesting.
very good. You
Yeah.
see, we think about it that way. We have discovered that our thought processes change depending on the people that are around us. And that's not to blame or be irresponsible. It's just a fact that if somebody is judgmental, they affect how willing you are to express yourself.
And we see it, we've been, as been leading seminars since the late 80s. And it's palpable, it's feelable, the makeup of the people who come. Some Zoom seminars, I feel they're like popcorn. Like one person says something and it bumps into another and they blossom into wanting to talk. Other times they're like big gaps between people speaking. And I do not believe when we have the real gappy evening where we'll say, okay, who else has something to say? And then there's a wait before somebody can kind of flower into speaking, is because I don't see that as people don't have things to say, but there's something or someone there who self-suppresses, and
then people become guarded because they know they're being judged. There's a real difference between being a participant and an observer in your life. The observers sit back and judge and think, well, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say it that way. Rather than really supporting people in being the unique individuals that they are.
It's kind of like us, all of us as kids said, when I'm an adult, I won't do that like my parents. And then you get to be an adult and you go, woo, now I get why they did that.
Mm-hmm. That's very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you opened up. I think when I met you, I said, I feel like you've opened doors in my head.
Actually,
feel.
Sandy, we didn't open the doors. We showed you there was a door there and you opened it.
Okay.
Otherwise,
it's all on you, man.
It's all on you. You see, your greatness is on you, not on us.
Mm-hmm.
I have one other observation for you in regards to where from time to time I feel you self-suppress. You up for hearing it?
Yes.
I think from time to time, you think you should do something a different way, or you should have a different life circumstance, or you judge yourself for something, whatever it is. And this is not for Sandy. This is for anybody where I should be making more money. I should have left my relationship by now. I should be in a relationship by now. I should be taller. I should be thinner. Whatever the thing is that we judge ourselves for. And when you're involved in that self-judgment, no two things can occupy the same Sandy at the same time. So it's hard to be fully engaged while you're trying to hide from either yourself or other people those things you're judging yourself about.
Spot on.
She's very accurate.
Can I just say, I love you. I really do. We do. But I just have such a hard connection with you.
And I'm not jealous.
No.
Much.
You're funny. You appreciate my appreciation.
I do.
I actually love both you guys. So there's nothing to be jealous of from my point of view.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you're both amazing.
And thank you. And by the way,
Well, you know, they have a saying in Germany. It goes selber, selber, and it means it takes one to know one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And thank you for calling me a creative spirit. I really like that. It was fun.
Oh, it's true. It's who you are, you know. Not saying Shya is not creative. I think he's very creative. I watched him. I was fortunate enough to watch him make flies. That one time I asked you to show me what you do, and that's, you know, it's a unique talent that I'm sure there's just a certain amount of people in the world who do that, and knowing how to do certain things. And I was quite impressed, especially on the scale of some of them are so small.
Well, I love that you say that, Sandy, because I really think everybody has a different expression of their creativity and a different expression of their intuition. And if you can get in the habit of appreciating other people's without comparing your version, you're more likely to appreciate what you've got.
Absolutely, very true. I went to Art and Design High School, and I was surrounded with a lot of artists at that time. And we've learned, you know, I guess I went there when I was 14. So the years I went to Art and Design, there was so much talent next to you all the time that we just learned how not to really compare ourselves to someone else, because whatever, somebody was just going to be better in something that you're not, and you just had to pull out. And that's what the school did. It pulled out whatever we were strong in to let us know, you know, how wonderful we were and to move forward. And if you didn't do anything, you know, sometimes people slacked off. They would come over to you quietly, a teacher, one of them would say to us, you know, someone else would really like to have this seat. So if you're really not interested, it's maybe you should move on and somebody else will take the seat for you. And that would just motivate you to, you know, to just create and to be part of the school.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got a good picture from that.
Thank you,
for being with
Sandy.
us today, Sandy. What a treat.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again for being part of my life.
It's our pleasure.
Our honor.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
You too. Hey, you want to hear about transformation? We've got one of our listeners about to tell you about what's happened in their life out of listening to being here.
Hi, I'm Daniela from Euskirchen in Germany. And yeah, I really love transformation because it taught me especially to be myself and to be boldly myself.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Well, that was fun with Sandy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Our Living Made Easy seminars throughout the summer, we have an updated schedule, and we've just started our 1 hour earlier, so 8 a.m. Eastern time, and what is that? 2 p.m. Central European time, Saturdays. So you can check our schedule at Transformation Made Easy /Living Made Easy for the seminars, the 2-hour Zoom seminars coming up to you. We have 3 weekend seminars upcoming. 2 are in person here in New Jersey, and 1 is virtual.
Yes.
The next is
Creativity and Intuition, which is on August 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's happening in Newark, New Jersey at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center.
The Freedom to Breathe, Art of Being a Healer is our Camp Tecumseh here in the wilds of New Jersey. It's sleepaway camp for big kids.
It's October 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
That can be right.
Well,
20, 21, 22, somewhere in there. It's that weekend of the 20th.
It's that weekend. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and
yeah, and I put in a wonky time frame.
okay.
And then Reclaiming Your Sense of Wonder is our virtual seminar in November on the 18th and 19th. And that weekend will be translated into German. So tell your German friends if you speak German yourself. Get it in both languages.
You can, even if you don't speak German, you can listen to the translation and
practice listening even when you don't understand the words, which is really kind of a cool treat. Costa Rica 2024 is happening. It's filling well. You are invited for 1 week or 2 in January.
When it's cold out there.
So transformationmadeeasy.com. Go ahead and sign up.
If you're not familiar with Groundhog Day, that was a joke that went nowhere.
Let's take our next guest, shall we?
Yes, let's.
All right, Franziska. Welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hello, I'm zooming in from Germany, Hamburg.
Nice.
Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you too. You look well today.
Thank you. I'm excellent.
That's great.
So, Francisco, what can we do for you?
Oh, I have an example of the sixth sense or of the six senses, which quite hit me because when we met each other 13 years ago, it was the similar situation. And now I'm in this same situation and I can totally float through it.
Uh-huh.
And it is
what was
easy.
The situation you were in 13 years ago?
I was fired by a company and I was really depressed and it hit me really hard and I didn't see it coming. And this time I felt it. I felt it before and I told my colleagues, something is wrong here in this company. I feel it in my stomach. I don't know what's coming up, but I can feel it. And I just looked around and see and heard what was coming up. And I just opened my eyes and my feelings for a new job. And I applied for just one new job. And Tuesday last week, my boss came to me and told me, sorry, you're fired. And I did see it coming. It's fine with me. I can go. I can just leave. And in the afternoon, I had a new job. It was just, I got fired in the morning and I had a new job in the afternoon. And there was no drama. It was just okay. And I couldn't have this feeling if I haven't had this experience for the last 13 days with being in the moment.
13 days?
Years.
You said days.
Oh no.
Yes, yes.
I think it has been 13 years since we met the first time.
Well, I vaguely remember you from the first time we met.
You had a lot longer hair then,
You
didn't
did.
you?
Yes, till the belly.
Yes.
You look younger, more relaxed, and more beautiful now.
Absolutely.
Same to you. Thank you. It is all about being and feeling and hearing and listening to what is coming and not to being afraid of it. And I'm not longer afraid of anything like life.
Great. I wouldn't make a pronouncement like that myself, because I have said that many times, as you just did. But when circumstances turn afoul, they turn bad,
Yes.
not the way you would like, then
frightening.
it can be frightening. And so I don't make pronouncements about how I'm going to be in the future.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant I'm in the moment. I'm not afraid of what is coming up. Like, I'm not afraid of, okay, if I'm going to leave this job, what's coming next? I was worried in the past. I was like afraid. That's what I meant. I am scared of things, sure. I don't know what's coming up, but I'm not in my head as much as I've been.
I believe you. I think that's great because, not to make generalizations.
No.
I do make generalizations from time to time. And your body type is a thinker's body type. So you're long and thin.
Yes.
And those people think a lot. If you were to apply a label, it would be kind of nervous. There's a constant worrying about.
Now you've learned how to bypass that. That's pretty amazingly wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have the propensity to go to worry, but since you've discovered the moment, the having to go there is no longer your norm.
Yes, that's right.
One thing I love about you too, Francisca, we were supposed to see you, or planning. We were all planning to see you when we came to Hamburg, and you suddenly got a migraine and it wasn't possible. And when you came today, and you clearly don't have one, you didn't spend a lot of time apologizing or feeling bad for the meeting we couldn't have. It was just a fact. And I think that's an amazing skill set that many people don't have. They spend a lot, I'm so sorry I got COVID and I couldn't be with you, or I'm so sorry, I'm 5 minutes late. It's not just an acknowledgement, it's spending time feeling bad about something.
Now you can't have done anything differently than you did at that moment in time.
Rather than celebrating the perfection of your life. We weren't supposed to see you till now.
That's right. And it's really, really a pleasure to see you, because we can see how much has happened for you in your life in a very positive way, even though we're not positive, negative type people.
Yeah.
What's your son doing?
My son is doing amazing. But yes, he is doing amazing because my mind shifted. I'm not expecting something. I'm just going with what is happening. He can't go to school because we don't have what we call someone who's going with him. He's got a companion usually, we call it Schulbegleiter. I don't know what it's in English, but it's someone who is going to school with him and stays on his side the whole day. And they quit their job, so we didn't have one for the last half year. And he was staying at home and I was working. So I could go to work and he was staying at home. He's 15 and he's got autism. He's on the autism spectrum. And he was just perfect. He was fine. He could see, go mommy and take your day and come back and I'll manage. And he managed it. I didn't even know that it would be possible for me to leave for 5 hours every day and him being alone. And
congratulations.
Yes, it's fine.
Lovely. But I really, really agree with you that your attitude, your way of being absolutely affects his sense of well-being. And if you're upset that he's autistic, then that keeps him more autistic.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of all six senses, having, seen you before on a Zoom and with your son coming in to interact with you on Zoom, I really see that he has super heightened senses. And when you're in distress,
he feels
it and comes to either pull for your energy or to save you, or and it's really quite lovely that
you balance yourself and your universe balances along with you.
Yes, and I have a wonder for this one too, because as soon as I quit my job and came home to Thursday, I said, my lovely son, I'm here for you now because I don't have a job. Don't have to go anywhere. And in this moment, he said, Mommy, can you bring me to school? Can you stay with me at school so I feel safe? And I said, yeah, sure. Whenever you want, we go to school. And now I've been with him to school Friday, Monday, Tuesday. And it was perfect. It was so amazing.
So when do you start your new job?
I'll start on the 1st of August. But I can work at home.
Oh, that's great.
Sweet.
Yes, and I can work at the school. The school offered me a place where I have spent years. 3 years ago, I have spent lots of time with my son at that school. And they invited me and say, you can have an office here. You can work here. So he can come to me. And he said, I don't need a companion. So as long as we don't have one, if you come with me, I'll be fine. And he was really great.
That is so good.
It is amazing. I've never
very inspiring, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, it is amazing. It just feels so good. It is, yeah, I can't believe it. We can't believe it. Yeah, that's right. That's how it's.
That's one of the interesting things about transformation. It makes leaps that are not understandable, that you can shift so completely without trying to change yourself. That's the gift of transformation, that you become a better you than you were without trying to get there.
Yes, and in an instant, like
in an instant.
Like what? Now? It's
right
possible now? Amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely lovely. I love it. I love it that and I'm more open to it. I just invite the feeling. I don't know how I'll manage that job because it's downtown and I live far up the north of Hamburg. So I have quite a way to drive there.
This is your last job or your new job?
The new one. The last one was next door because I thought I needed one next door. And now I say, I'll find something that's perfect for me and where I can just be as creative as I want to. And I figured it out. There is a way that this will be happening. The new boss told me today, yes, you can come whenever you want. You don't have to be in the office. I'll just give you a computer, a telephone, whatever you need, as long as you're here for 1 day or 2 days a week. And I said, that's possible. That's my husband already said, okay, I'll stay at home 2 days. Done. Ready. Go.
Well, the overall thing I take away from this being here, Zoom call that we're on together, is how well you are in yourself. It's just a gift. Because when we met, you were kind of frazzled by life.
Yes, I remember that.
You a bad card.
Yes. And I was always complaining.
That's right.
Well,
then you were normal.
Yes.
See, normal people complain all the time because they think things should be different than they are. But when you realize that life is exactly as it is, there's no need to complain.
Yes, that's
that being said, you did do something back in the early days that I admire, and I just want to mention it for people who are listening to this podcast. At the time, 13 years ago, if your son's 15 now, he was 2 then, and his outbursts and his way of being in the early years was less controllable. I think that oftentimes people, when they have stressors, whether it's at work or their kids are acting out or their health has gone wonky, they tend to keep it private. And I really admire that when you were lost in complaint and things were upsetting, that you said, hey, I'm lost in complaint and things are upsetting. You weren't trying to make it prettier than it was. You weren't dramatizing. You were just really willing to lay it out and say, this is my perspective. What else is possible? And I just admire that level of honesty.
Thank you. Yes. But you open up the room for this honesty. You opened it up so I could speak. So it's both ways.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I couldn't have spoken somewhere else. It was just a safe place to be and to come with all my life. And it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and allowing us to participate in your life.
Thank you for being in my life. It is a pleasure.
Excellent.
It's so great. Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying Shine. I've enjoyed being with Franziska today. And if you enjoyed the podcast, you can leave a review on your favorite podcast app, or because it helps other people find being here. And if you feel to do it, thanks in advance. You can also share this show with friends of yours. You ready for next week's show?
Sure.
It's perfect after this one, because this is what Franziska was
look at
talking
that.
about.
It's called Meeting the Unexpected.
Yes. We'll be back next week. So come on back.
And don't miss being here.
What he said.